Alrighty everybody, we are getting closer and closer to the finale of the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series, something that a lot of fans really seem to be divided over. There's a lot of fans that support this show, there's also a large majority of fans that are very unhappy with the direction of the series, led by Deborah Chow and Joby Harold. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, it is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about the Kenobi TV show is that we already know that actors Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen have really been a lot more vocal lately about their experience on the sets of the series and exactly how they felt returning to the show since, of course, 2005's Revenge of the Sith. So we obviously know that, you know, if you guys go ahead and check out their interviews, you can see the happiness that is coming from them, and it's just rather unfortunate that for Hayden Christensen, alright, to come back to a series like this, it's getting so much criticism, you know, it's just very much, you know, worrisome of how things are going with the Kenobi show. Now, obviously, a lot of fans are very curious about what is going to happen with the season finale. Now, we already know that Disney CEO Bob Chapek is already pre-planning the continuation of the series, not in the form of a season 2, but to actually extend the already existing limited TV series. Now, with that being said, however, when it all comes down to actor Pedro Pascal, he recently was able to actually offer his review of the series and what he thinks about the TV show, and even goes on to blame the fans once again on specific things about the Kenobi TV show, and actually points fingers at certain things that a lot of fans are not really doing. So with that being said, however, alright, on top of all of this, with actor Pedro Pascal currently busy working on The Mandalorian Season 3, even though filming has wrapped, he is beginning to actually have many conversations with John and Dave about Season 4. Now, recently when Pedro was questioned about the new seasons of Mando, he was eventually questioned about the Kenobi series to where he was able to state the following: well, you know, let me just say one thing here right now. This backlash that is going on with the series, all of this ruckus and noise is just flat out childish. People should respect the best Star Wars series that is ever made, and that is of course the Kenobi series, the one that is on Disney right now. How do these negative fans explain the record ratings for the Kenobi series? So I think fans are just way too sensitive with a series like this, you know? As I always say, there are always going to be a huge part of the fan base that is overly demanding, and not in a good way. I think that the show is fantastic. I really do. My son actually watches it to support this franchise that I am in, and we both agree that Leia and Reva are the stars of the show. They are the characters that really make this series great, and that's not to say that Kenobi is a nothing character, but it's always best to focus on strong characters like Reva and Leia. Now, of course, let me just stop right here for a second. Now, Pedro Pascal, in my opinion, is already offering a terrible review of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series and his thoughts on the fandom moving forward. He goes on to say, I'm just so happy that we got something like that in the show as impressive as Kenobi. Both Joby and Deborah did amazing work on the show. The editing is very well done and smooth, and what's not to like of the return of Darth Vader? It's probably the scariest Vader yet in the series, but we can't deny the truth that we have a villain even scarier than Vader, and that is Reva. I have to say I love doing my photo shoot with Moses Ingram, and I hope to work with her someday in the future on another project that Lucasfilm may do. The cinematography and CGI in the show is flawless to me, the story makes complete sense and only strengthens the franchise. I seriously don't understand the backlash of the show, it just sounds like a bunch of immature fans that don't like diversity in a series, period, the end, that's all it's about, and I stand by that statement. Let me just stop right here 1 second, okay? So, Pedro Pascal once again pulling the diversity card on why fans do not like this series. I gotta keep bringing this up. I don't understand why they always focus on this fans hating diversity thing when that's really not the truth. It's not. It's far from the truth. We all love characters like Mace Windu, or Lando Calrissian, or all of those different characters that embrace that you know, in the original trilogy and in the prequels. I mean, there's a lot of characters like that. There's also a lot of female characters as well in the Star Wars franchise in its entirety. So I don't really understand you know, what the big deal is when it comes to diversity and the whole, you know, thing related to that. Now, obviously, Pedro Pascal, I don't know if you guys have followed him on Twitter, but boy, oh boy, I mean, you know, he really is lost when it comes to what Star Wars really is all about, what it really stands for, the philosophy of George Lucas. You know, he is the type of guy that really just believes it's all about what Kathleen Kennedy stands for, and they both seem to have similar mindsets. So, moving forward from all of this, alright, he goes on to actually reveal and state the following. So he says, the fans can never explain why the ratings are so high, and can never show, of course, the reason behind that. Now, personally, I think fans need to keep their opinions to themselves. I mean, really, they need to stop the negative waves and bring in the positive vibes. This show is better than the original trilogy to me. It has a richness to it. Deborah is an expert. I loved working with her on The Mandalorian. I think she is the very one of the best directors of our time. She is the one that really created momentum for the Mandalorian series. We all have to give her credit for that. But as for Kenobi, it's clear that the fans are afraid, just so frightened of girl power and diversity, which is something that rocks in the Star Wars franchise right now. It's so welcoming to see creators embracing that finally with the Kenobi show, and I hope they keep pursuing that. Now, once again, Pedro's saying that the fans are afraid and or frightened of girl power and diversity. It's not that the fans are afraid, it's that the fans are annoyed of that being forced into a story where it just doesn't come off naturally. That's the problem. Alright, that is 100% the problem. We don't have problems with, you know, girl power or anything like that if it's done properly in the writing. You know, if you look at popular figures in pop culture, let's take a look here. You know, we have Ripley in the Alien franchise. We have, let's say, for example, Sarah Connor in the Terminator franchise. We have Leia in the Star Wars franchise. You know, there's so many examples like that where it just comes off naturally speaking. And it doesn't get forced in there. It doesn't actually have cringy lines of dialogue that goes along with that forced, you know, agenda. That's exactly why fans are annoyed. Not afraid, not frightened, but annoyed. And those examples that I just laid out right there, it just goes to show you that this has been around for a very long time in the proper way. The way that Lucasfilm is embracing this, it's not in the right way at all. So, Pedro Pascal, once again, he's one of those lost actors in Hollywood, in the Hollywood bubble, as I like to call it. You know, I think that at the end of the day, they're never going to change. They're never really going to say anything different. They believe what they say, or they're just saying what they have to say because they have to say that to stay hired with Lucasfilm and or Disney. It's one of the other two. One of those two examples there is probably what's happening. So overall, guys, you know, let me know what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I'll catch you guys next time.